Hello, in this video we'll take a look at the first lesson for shape and space on perimeter. When we're looking at this unit, the formula sheet provided in the unit in Moodle is really your best friend because you can write on your formula sheet, you can print it off, you can have it electronically, you don't have to memorize all the formulas, and you can add notes onto your formula sheet that can help you with this unit. This lesson begins back on page 79 in your workbook, and these are introductory lessons to give us information about perimeter of regular shapes and irregular shapes, and we'll look at both. No matter what type of shape you're faced with, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. So when I talk about perimeter, I'm always thinking about walking around a building, for example, or building a fence that encloses an area. So perimeter is the distance outside or around. When we have irregular shapes, and even if we have regular shapes, a simple way to find perimeter is just to add all the lengths of all the sides. So you can see that this first shape has all of the sides indicated. So you would simply, like you would be walking around, you would add 12 plus 8 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. So you would add those, and you can add them in any order. You can combine. In the end, you'll get your perimeter by adding. And you're not going to change your units. It stays as centimeters because you're simply adding all the centimeters. You're doing a linear measurement, like if you're using a tape measure. So when we look at irregular shapes like on this page, the only way to get the perimeter is by adding. But if you have a regular shape like a rectangle, you can use a formula instead. So you can multiply the lengths by 2 and the widths by 2 and add them because we know we have the same length and same width on either side. For a square, because all 4 sides are the same, you can multiply one side by 4. So these formulas are on your formula sheet, and they're a way for you to calculate perimeter a bit more quickly. So that's pretty straightforward. The other kind of question that you'll face, and probably more popular in this course, is finding an unknown side based on the perimeter that you're given. So here we have an irregular shape. It's actually a trapezoid. So we're going to look for x. We see we have a missing side length. They've told us what the perimeter is. So the way to solve this is you could either take 25 and then subtract 5, subtract 6, and subtract 10, which would go very quickly on your calculator. Or you can take 25 and you can subtract the combination of those. So you could add 5, 6, and 10 to get 21. And then you would subtract that from 25. Whichever way you go about it, you're going to be solving for the unknown side length, which in this case is 4 centimeters. With that information, you're now ready to solve the student example on page 80. You can pause the video, try it on your own, and if you need to, you can check the solution here. All right, so they tell us that the perimeter is 52 meters, and we are looking to solve this little length of x. So I'm going to take my 52 meters, and I'm going to subtract the combination of all the other sides. So I'm going to choose to add all the sides that I know first, and then take that away from 52. So I'm going to add 10 plus 11 plus 20, which is 41, plus 8, which is 49. So I'm going to subtract the 49, which gives me a difference of 3. And that looks pretty good because we can see that side length is really small. So x is equal to 3 meters. If you recall back when I talked about perimeter formulas for rectangle and square, we have formulas that help you go quicker when we have regular shapes. Here are some examples of regular polygons. Polygon just means many sides. So a 3-sided figure is an equilateral triangle. a square with 4 sides, pentagon with 5 sides, hexagon with 6 sides, octagon with 8 sides. When we have a regular polygon, that means that all the side lengths are equal. So then you can go faster. If you know one of the sides, you can multiply that by however many sides you have. So in this equilateral triangle, you would multiply a side length by 3 to get your perimeter. In the octagon, like our stop sign, you would multiply the side length by 8 to get your perimeter. So it may be helpful for you either on your formula sheet or on page 81 in the side notes there, is just to write down some of these kind of basic formulas. And what we can say is we can break these formulas down. So if we have a regular perimeter of a polygon, regular polygon, we're going to multiply the side length by the number of sides. So this n is the number of sides, and s represents the side length. So if you have a 6-sided figure, let's say the side length is 5 centimeters, you're going to multiply 5 centimeters by 6 to get a total of 30 centimeters. If you know the perimeter, but you don't know the side lengths, so here we would be solving for the side length, but we know the perimeter, then we can simply take the perimeter and divide it by the number of sides. So for example, if you have a pentagon, which is 5 sides, and you know the perimeter is 50, you can divide 50 divided by 5 in order to get a side length of 10. So this formula for finding the unknown side or the formula for finding the perimeter, this can be useful for future times where you see a regular polygon. Let's put that into practice on page 81. The first student example asks us to find the perimeter of a regular octagon with side lengths of 6.2. We know that an octagon has 8 sides, and if we're not sure, we can always reference that. We know we're doing the outside measurement, the perimeter, so the perimeter here is going to be the number of sides multiplied by the side length. So the perimeter is going to be 8 sides multiplied by 6.2 centimeters. Remember, we are doing a linear measurement. We're just basically adding 6.2 plus 6.2 8 times. So we use our calculator. We do that multiplication and we get a perimeter of 49.6 centimeters. For the second example, if the perimeter of a regular pentagon is 100 meters, so now they're giving us the perimeter, and a pentagon is 5 sides, how long is each side? So again, that formula would be very helpful. We don't know the side, but we know we can take the perimeter and divide it by the number of sides in order to get the side length. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get the side length by taking 100 meters, and we're going to divide that by 5. And when we do that, we see that the side length is going to be 20 meters. So each side of that pentagon is 20 meters. In the next video, we'll take a look at perimeter of circles.